I was more bothered when Beans chose to go with Jay. That one hurt because I'd done a lot and prepared. I chose State Property over Rockware, and I wanted to just roll out with State Property. But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him, and he fucked his life up to me doing that.
Oh, Dame Dad says Jay-Z destroyed Beanie Siegel's life. Beanie Sigel hurt me by choosing Jay over me.
Did you know anything about the tension between Dipset and Jay?
Yeah, you kidding? I was refereeing it. I was refereeing it. I was trying to keep everybody cool. So I'd tell Jay, like, yo, why you keep fucking with him? He's young. Like, what's the problem? So Jay would be, all right, cool. And then go on the radio and say, yeah, Cam is a good earner. And then Cam would be like, why you got to call me an earner? You know what I'm saying? I'd be, I don't know why he called you an earner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. You know, so I don't know why Jay ever had a thing with Cam. He always had a thing like that. He had a thing with everybody, bro. Pause.
And that
Here we go.
H to the Izzo beat was supposed to be Cam's, right?
I didn't know that was the case because I know.
I can hear that.
I remember. I don't remember that, but maybe
I can hear it.
I don't see Kanye. Kanye wasn't just giving like the beats that Cam got. Like, oh boy, he took that. It wasn't like it was given to him. It was just like, oh, this is here. I'm taking this, and I wasn't even mad at it because it was acting funny. You know, I produced Kanye's first record that was on the radio. We Are the Champions on my album.
How you define produce?
The Dream Team. So I produced that with Kanye. And the reason why he got that beat was because I gave it the sample to Just Blaze to flip. And he would disrespecting me and just ignoring me. And Kanye was like, I'll do it. And then when he did it, I said, because you did it, jump on it. Paul. And then Cam jumped on it and you know, fucking Beanie. It was dope. I think Young Chris.
What was the deal with Kanye? Like, why wasn't anybody supporting him as a rapper outside of you?
Because he, you know, like, we looked at him, like, I never looked at Kanye as a rapper.
Because y'all couldn't see it. Y'all couldn't see it. Everybody was thugged out. Everybody was tough. And there was no room for creativity yet. Wasn't ready to see nothing different. I remember that pivotal point.
And Kanye always looked at himself, which is not a bad thing, but, you know, he always thought he was bigger than everyone else thought he was until he got there. So no one really took him serious as a rapper. And again, I took him serious as someone that can do an album, make beats, and at least everybody from Rockefeller could jump on the album. So you're going to get Jay, you're going to get Cam, all of that. Everyone he made a beat for should do a record for him.
Right, he wanted him to do like some DJ Khaled type shit.
But I never looked at him as a rapper. And then when he started rapping, after he broke his jaw, that's when it was like, damn, he's the best producer that could rap. Like how Dre could rap. Like, you don't look at Dr. Dre as a rapper, you look at him as a producer. Me knowing Kanye, it'll be like Just Blaze starting to rap. I knew them first as producers. It's really hard for me to unsee people the way I first saw them. That's why.
And that's the problem with so many people in your life and around you. They can't. Don't let other people's visions of you define who you are. Anyway, here we go.
Like certain people, no matter what they do, how much money they make, I still see them as that same person. And that could be the default. But it's hard to like unsee what you first saw. The reason why if you look at the movie, the reason why he was like, the contracts took so long is because Jay would not sign off on them. So that was the problem. But again, if I were to tell Kanye, yo, Jay won't sign off on your, then he would have like jumped off the, he would have took it too hard. So I could never really say when, it was always me like having to be like, make excuses because things had to move slower because we always had to wait for Homeboy to give his one signature because he always knew that Biggs was going to rock out with me. So he just would torture us to get done.
It sounds like Jigga reserved his power and held it. Maybe for leverage, maybe he's being over analytical. Who knows? But for whatever reason, it seemed like Jigga recognized and relished those moments when he was the signature to bring things together. But go ahead.
If it wasn't about him. Now his budgets, they got signed off on very fast. To be honest, there was a time like I had took Kanye's chain off his neck because he was driving me nuts. So when that had happened, he was already like, I had dropped Kanye from Rockefeller. I dropped Kanye. So at that point, I was done with them. I was ready to go do my own thing. I gave people out of respect the opportunity, like, yo, there's Dame Dash, I forgot what the name of the record is, Dash Records or whatever. So I was like, y'all can go over there if they won't with you. But like, really, I'm done with this music. Like, I was done. I was burnt out. Everybody was corny to me. Everybody was weird to me. Everybody was manipulative and exploitive. And it just smelled like bad breath. And it still does. Like you walk into a room and you just could, I just got sick of smelling hot paws, bad stink demon breath. I didn't want to smell that no more. I didn't want to be around. So how did I feel? I wasn't even thinking about it. I just was like, let me go get this Rachel Roy off the ground and turn that into $100 million company, which I did, that nobody talks about.
What made you take his chain?
Because two things. Beans was getting ready. We thought he was going to go to jail for a couple of years. He was on trial.
Right.
So I was trying to make 4 albums for him or 5 so that if he went to jail, because every time if you sold 500,000 records, I could give you $1 million advance. So if I already have 5 albums that each went gold, while he was in jail, I could always make sure he had 500 grand. So I was just trying to get it all done. And Kanye wouldn't give him any beats. That was one reason. And the other reason why is I had spent like $500,000-600,000 with Rockware's money developing his line, Pastel. I still got the samples. And all of a sudden he was like, I don't like him no more. And he was just starting to Kanye out. And that was it. I was done. So I was like, man, you got to get out. You know, I was tight. So I had the chain, you know what I mean? And people, my inner crew talks about that. Like, damn, you dropped Kanye. I'm like, I don't give a f. I had done so much to fight for him, you know, it was like, what more can I do?
So he yapped him? He took his chain back?
So I just felt like I can't be arguing. I don't care how many records you sell. And that was before that was like when he first got hot. I was more bothered when Beans chose to go with Jay. That one hurt. Because I'd done a lot and prepared. I chose State Property over Rockware. And I wanted to just roll out with State Property. But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him, and his life up to me doing that. But I had him, you know what I mean? Like, that was my new Jay. Like, I looked at them like NWA, and I liked the clothes better than Rockware. They had Beans.
I wonder how Beans feel about that now, or his perspective on the situation.
Trying to, like, I forgot this. I hate when I forget people's names, but the person that was like my partner and doing the licensing for State Property, because sales was telling them that, you know, Rockware was doing this, that, and the third, that State Property should be more like Rockware as opposed to being more like Dickies and Carhartt, which is the way I designed it. And they started signing off.
State Property was never really hitting. Some niggas rocked that shit, but I never. Rockaway had his moment. State Property, I don't think never. Them niggas had jail suits and shit. Like,
off one behind my back. It was like, I bet wrong on that one. That might be something I would have done different.
So you feel like if Beans would have went with you instead of Jay, his career would have been bigger?
What? It's not even the shit I had planned for them. He put his own self up for that one. Like, I had the movies, right? I had the clothing line. The clothing line was doing 20 million a year. You know, so we had the movies, the touring, the clothing line. You gotta remember, like, I activated all of those things. You know, like, I was making Beans when I was talking to Cam about being the vice president, talking to him. I was also talking to Beans. I was making both of them vice presidents because they had labels. I was the one that was strategically growing and planting seeds, to grow their businesses, whether they knew it or not. Whether they knew it was in their best interest or not, I was still doing it. So I made sure everybody had their own movie. Everybody had their own clothing line. Remember, Cam had a fragrance. He had Old Boy a fragrance. I did that back then.
Yeah, I remember that.
Could you imagine if that would have stayed, if they wouldn't have fucked that up? You know, nobody wants to listen to me of it.
Yo, Dame mad as a motherfucker, man. I'll be listening to his stuff. A lot of times people just ignore him, but Dame remind me like you got some old dudes around your way that, as they say, people talk about what they had and then they lost it or whatever. That don't mean just because they messed up doesn't mean they don't have a lot of information. I think Dame be knowing shit, yo. I don't care. We clown Dame a lot, and me and my brother be on here making fun of him and stuff. But he be knowing stuff, man. And it sounds like he had a lot to contribute, even towards the end in Rockefeller. And he kind of got mushed out. He don't want to say it like that and sound like a victim. He never say it. Oh, don't let me forget this. The nigga that's gonna eat the barefoot, but I ain't doing that one yet. All right, next story.